The decision was made in a room of cold light and quiet voices. The Galactic Archive did not shout or argue. It did not need to. After a short vote, Earth was marked as a mistake. Lines of data were erased. Maps shifted. Records changed. To the galaxy, humanity no longer existed. No fleets were sent. No weapons were fired. Earth was not destroyed. It was simply removed. On Earth, the change came slowly. At first, no one noticed. The sky looked the same. The cities were loud as always. People went to work, talked to friends, and planned for tomorrow. Then small things began to fail. Deep space messages stopped arriving. Old trade signals returned empty. Automatic replies from distant stations came back blank. Astronomers noticed gaps where data should have been. Satellites pointed into space and heard nothing. James noticed it during a night shift. He was a systems engineer, used to long hours and quiet screens. His job was to watch deep space channels for errors. Most nights were boring. That night was not. A stream of data ended in the middle of a sentence. Another channel showed years of information missing. James checked the system again. Then again. He blamed the software. He blamed himself. He ran tests. Everything on Earth worked fine. Everything beyond Earth was gone. James felt a cold weight in his chest. He did not panic. He took notes. He saved copies. He sent a message to Emily. Emily was a researcher who studied long-range communication. She trusted data more than rumors. When James showed her the missing records, she did not laugh. She grew quiet. Together they checked archives, backups, and old logs. The truth formed slowly, like a shadow at sunset. Human history beyond Earth had been removed. Not damaged. Not hidden. Erased. Emily said the words first. We have been deleted. The idea felt unreal. James expected fear to follow. It did not. Instead, Earth became very calm. Governments met in closed rooms. Scientists worked longer hours. No one screamed about invasion. No alarms were raised. There were no speeches about war. Humanity had learned something long ago. Fear wastes time. People remembered old stories. Burned books. Lost languages. Erased cultures. Humans had erased each other before. They had survived that too. News spread, but it spread quietly. There was no enemy to hate. No ships to shoot. Just a fact. The galaxy believed humans were weak. That belief changed everything. Without watchers, without rules from outside powers, Earth became free in a way it had not been for centuries. Projects that once needed permission no longer asked. Research that was once delayed moved forward. James helped build new listening systems. Not louder ones. Smarter ones. Ones that did not announce themselves. Emily worked on understanding the silence. She studied how records were erased. Not with force but with choice. Someone had decided humans did not matter. That idea did not make her angry. It made her focused. Across the planet, people adjusted. Trade routes closed, but new systems formed. Earth turned inward and grew stronger. Engineers shared designs freely. Scientists worked together without borders. Artists recorded everything. If the galaxy forgot them, humanity would remember itself. Children were taught the truth in simple words. The stars are quiet right now, teachers said. So we must listen better. Days passed. Then weeks. No alien voice returned. No warning came. Earth existed alone. James stood one night on a rooftop looking up. He did not feel small. He felt patient. Emily joined him. They think we're gone, she said. James nodded. They think that means we're finished. Emily smiled slightly. They don't know us very well. Deep below the surface, new networks grew. Ships were designed without known patterns. Messages were written in simple language, clear and calm. Humanity did not plan revenge. They planned to be understood. Every system they built had one rule: survive without being seen. Every record they kept had another: tell the truth when the time comes. Earth did not rush. It waited. And in that quiet waiting, humanity prepared to respond, not with anger but with presence. Somewhere in the vast records of the galaxy, Earth was a blank space. On Earth, that blank space became a reason to stand. Humans had been erased. They were not finished. They were ready. Earth learned how to live without being seen. Once the last outside signal faded, the planet grew quiet in a new way. Not empty. Not afraid. Just focused. There were no alien laws to follow anymore. No limits set by distant councils. Humanity worked without asking who was watching because no one was. Michael and David understood what that meant. They were engineers but very different ones. Michael liked order. He trusted plans, steps, and clean designs. David trusted failure. He believed mistakes were teachers. Together, they led small teams hidden deep within Earth's networks. No banners. No public praise. Just work. Old technology was studied first. Human ships, human drives, human shields. All of it was useful but not enough. The galaxy had erased humans once. That meant the old ways were already known. So Michael set a simple rule. Nothing familiar. They rebuilt everything from the ground up. Engines that bent space quietly instead of loudly. Power systems that recycled themselves instead of burning out. Ships that did not leave clear trails. David pushed for strange ideas. Living materials. Systems that learned on their own. Machines that could fail safely and rebuild. Michael argued, then tested. When the ideas worked, he nodded and moved on. Progress came fast. Without borders slowing them, scientists shared everything. A solution in one city became a standard in another by morning. There were no secrets left to sell. Survival was the only goal. Above ground, Earth looked normal. People still walked streets. Markets still opened. Music still played. But behind the calm surface, humanity changed. Jessica and Lauren worked with words instead of machines. They studied old alien languages, broken signals, and half-lost symbols. They did not assume humans would be welcomed back. They assumed the opposite. If humanity spoke again, it had to be clearly understood. Jessica believed language was about feeling. Lauren believed it was about structure. Together, they built systems that could learn meaning, not just sound. They created messages that did not threaten. Messages that explained instead of demanded. Messages that showed patience. One message said, "We are here." Another said, "We remember." A third said nothing at all but carried art, music, and images of Earth. They tested every word carefully. No pride. No anger. Just truth. Earth became silent to the galaxy but alive to itself. Years passed. The galaxy did not notice. Alien traders flew past empty space where Earth once appeared on maps. Records showed nothing there. Some believed the planet had died. Others believed it never mattered. That mistake gave humans time. Michael watched test ships vanish into deep space without trace. David watched them return, unchanged, unseen. They did not celebrate loudly. They marked results and improved the design. Jessica listened to early translation systems respond to unknown signals pulled from deep background noise. Lauren adjusted patterns and smiled when meaning formed where before there was only static. James and Emily watched it all grow. They were no longer just witnesses. They became anchors. They reminded everyone why Earth stayed quiet. Why no early message was sent. Why patience mattered. "We don't return to be loud," Emily said often. "We return to be undeniable." James agreed. "If they erased us once, they'll try again if we scare them." So humanity did not seek revenge. That idea faded quickly, not because it was wrong but because it was small. Revenge looked backward. Humanity needed to move forward. Instead, they planned understanding. They planned to show what they had built. How they had grown without permission. How they had chosen restraint when no one was watching. Children grew up knowing the truth. They learned history as something precious. Something that could be lost if not protected. Artists recorded daily life in new ways. Not for fame but for memory. If Earth vanished again, it would not vanish quietly. As time passed, Earth felt less like a hidden world and more like a waiting one. The silence was not weakness. It was control. Michael once stood with David near a launch site, watching a ship slide into darkness without sound. "They think nothing lives here," David said. Michael nodded. "Good." Jessica and Lauren watched first contact simulations replay again and again. Every possible response. Every possible fear. "When we speak," Jessica said, "we speak once." And clearly, Lauren added. Earth did not rush the moment. When humanity returned to the stars, it would not arrive as conquerors or victims. There would be no fleets demanding space. No weapons aimed at unknown worlds. They would arrive with proof. Proof that erasing a species did not end it. Proof that silence could hide growth. Proof that humans were not weak, only patient. And while the galaxy slept, believing Earth was empty, humanity prepared its voice. Not to shout, but to be heard. Years passed and the galaxy stayed confident in its mistake. Trade lanes stayed busy. Ships moved from world to world, carrying goods, news, and quiet lies written into old records. One of those lies said that Earth was empty. That lie had not been questioned in a long time. Until something small appeared. Near one of the largest trade worlds, sensors picked up a new object. It was not fast. It did not hide. It did not shine with power or weapons. It simply arrived and held position. At first, traffic control thought it was debris. Then it spoke. John and Ashley watched from Earth as the probe sent its first signal. They had trained for this moment for years. Every word, every image, every pause had been tested again and again. John handled movement and timing. Ashley watched communication flow. Neither smiled. The probe sent a simple message into open space. We are human. The signal did not push into networks or force connections. It waited like a hand held out, not grabbing. Alien stations reacted with confusion. Automated systems tried to place the signal. They failed. The source did not match any active record. Security alerts rose, then paused. The probe sent another message. We come without harm. This time data followed. Art. Images of Earth. Human cities. Oceans. Forest faces. Music built on simple patterns. Stories told in calm words. Records of humans helping each other after disasters. Scientists sharing work freely. Doctors staying when it was safer to leave. It was not propaganda. It was memory. Alien analysts watched in silence. Some felt curiosity. Others felt fear. A few felt shame. The name Earth appeared in conversation again for the first time in years. Leaders were called. Records were opened. Old data was searched and searched again. The result was always the same. Earth was marked erased. This should not be possible. The probe did not move closer. It did not block trade. It did not demand response. It simply stayed where it was and continued to speak when spoken to. John adjusted signal strength slightly. Ashley corrected tone markers. The probe responded to questions with care. Yes, we are alive. Yes, we remember. No, we did not attack. That answer caused the most fear. Because the galaxy had prepared for anger. It had prepared for revenge. It had prepared for war. It was not prepared for calm. Fear spread faster than truth. Some worlds closed ports. Others increased patrols. Rumors grew wild. Humans had advanced in secret. Humans were hiding weapons. Humans were lying. None of it matched the probe. The probe carried no weapons. Scans confirmed it. It carried no shields meant for battle. It carried no threats. It carried proof. Alien leaders met in tense rooms. Some wanted to destroy the probe before it spoke more. Others argued that killing it would confirm human warnings. A simple fact remained. Earth was not empty. Worse, Earth had returned without asking permission. The probe sent one more message, this time directed to governing bodies. You erased us. A pause followed. We continued. The words spread across networks and screens. They were not loud. They did not accuse. They stated truth. John exhaled slowly on Earth. Ashley watched data spike across the galaxy. The reaction was stronger than expected. Some leaders demanded silence from the probe. It refused politely. It followed its rules. It spoke only when addressed. It shared only what it carried. It did not chase attention. That restraint made it harder to ignore. Young analysts began to question old records. Scholars asked why erasure had been chosen. Traders wondered what else had been hidden from them. Fear remained, but something else appeared beside it. Doubt. If humans had grown this much while erased, what else had the archive been wrong about? No fleets were launched. No weapons fired. The probe stayed where it was, calm and patient. On Earth, John and Ashley watched stars shift on their screens. They're scared, Ashley said. John nodded. But they're listening. That was enough. Humanity had returned, not with fire, but with voice. The galaxy had erased Earth once. Now it had to face what had been ignored. And for the first time it understood something new. Silence did not mean absence. Sometimes it meant growth. The signal chamber on Earth was quiet. James stood beside Emily as the shared link opened. Light filled the room, forming shapes that were not fully solid. Far away, across vast space, the Galactic Council watched through their own systems. There was no grand entrance. No dramatic sound. Just a connection. James kept his hands still. Emily kept her voice calm. They did not come as rulers. They did not come as victims. They came as witnesses. The council spoke first. Their voices blended together, smooth and careful. Human representatives, they said, you stand before us without approval. James answered simply. We stand because we exist. There was a pause. Data flowed between systems. Emily could feel it like pressure in the air. They did not demand an apology. They did not ask for restored titles, lost trade, or punishment. Emily asked one question, clear and direct. Why was Earth erased? The question echoed through the chamber. It was not angry. It was not loud. that made it harder to ignore. The council took time to respond. Records were checked. Old decisions were reviewed. Finally, an answer came, stripped of ceremony. Humans were judged unstable, the council said. Too emotional. Too persistent. Too difficult to predict. James felt the words land heavy but familiar. Emily did not react. The council continued. You feel deeply. You remember too much. You do not accept limits easily. History showed this pattern again and again. We chose removal over risk. Silence followed. On Earth no one spoke. On council worlds, screens showed still human faces. The galaxy waited for anger. It did not come. Humanity listened. That silence was not empty. It was full of memory, of loss, of survival. Then Michael stepped forward. He was not a diplomat. His voice was steady but plain. You are correct, he said. Humans are emotional. Some council members shifted. Michael continued. We feel fear. We feel grief. We feel hope. We feel love. These things do not make us weak. He paused, choosing simple words. Emotion is memory, he said. It tells us what matters. It tells us what we lost. It tells us what we protect. Images appeared beside his words. Humans helping each other after storms. Strangers pulling others from wreckage. Scientists staying awake for days to save one life. We are persistent, Michael said, because we remember pain. We remember failure. We remember each other. Emily spoke next. You erased us because we would not forget, she said. You feared that memory would turn into anger. James nodded. But memory also turns into restraint. The council watched as data streams showed human choices. Times when humans could have struck back. Times when they chose not to. We did not attack when erased, James said. We did not return with weapons. We returned with proof. The council asked a question, careful and uncertain. Why? Emily answered. Because survival taught us something. She looked straight ahead. Fear destroys faster than emotion. Silence can hide growth. And care can outlast control. The words spread through the chamber. Some council members argued quietly. Others remained still. Old beliefs cracked under simple truth. One voice asked, what do humans want? James answered without hesitation. To be seen. Not ruled. Not erased. Michael added, to be allowed to exist with memory intact. The council fell silent again. Records updated in real time. Warnings flashed and faded. The idea that humans were a danger began to change shape. They were not safe. They were not gentle. They were resilient. And they remembered everything. Finally, the council spoke. We misjudged you. Emily nodded once. Yes. That was enough. No cheering followed. No victory declared. Only understanding, slow and heavy, settling across the stars. Humanity had not raised its voice. It had explained itself. And the galaxy for the first time listened. The change did not happen all at once. It began with quiet edits. Across the galaxy, record systems opened. Old decisions were reviewed. Lines of data that once erased Earth were rewritten. Star maps filled in again. Trade routes blinked back to life. Earth was no longer a blank space. But it was not restored without notice. A warning was added to every major archive. Humanity, persistent, adaptive, not to be erased. It was not a threat. It was a reminder. James watched the updates appear on a shared screen. Emily stood beside him, reading each change in silence. There was no celebration. Only a deep breath released after years of waiting. Trade reopened slowly. First came simple messages. Then small exchanges. Ships arrived in Earth's outer space, cautious but curious. Humans welcomed them without displays of power. Talks began. Michael and David sat in long sessions, explaining human systems and limits. They spoke plainly. No secrets but no weakness either. Jessica and Lauren worked beside them, guiding language so meaning stayed clear. No one tried to rule. No one tried to submit. The galaxy adjusted. Some worlds feared human presence. Others studied it. Younger species looked at Earth with wonder. Older powers looked with respect they did not fully understand. Humans did not demand seats of control. They did not take over councils. They did not push borders. They simply stayed. That was enough to change everything. Earth returned to the stars as a living world, not a myth. Human ships traveled openly now, still quiet, still careful. They shared medicine, art, and methods of survival. They also shared history. Not the proud parts alone. The failures too. The mistakes. The times humans nearly ended themselves and learned to stop. That honesty surprised the galaxy. James once watched a trade vessel leave orbit and said softly, "They see us now." Emily nodded. "They remember us." That mattered more. The warning in the records was read again and again. Humanity could not be ignored, could not be erased, could not be controlled. Not because they were strongest but because they endured. Children on Earth grew up looking at real star maps again. Teachers pointed to worlds that once pretended Earth did not exist. The lesson was simple. Existence must be defended. The galaxy changed slowly but forever. Decisions became harder to hide. Erasure became unacceptable. Other species questioned old archives, old rules, old silences. Humanity had not rewritten laws with force. It had rewritten behavior. In distant halls, archivists remembered the moment Earth vanished and returned. They told new students the story, not as a warning of danger but of mistake. Somewhere in the data, two lines remained side by side. They erased Earth from records. Humanity rewrote the galaxy. And this time the record stayed.